It is the end of June, almost July, and it's so dry here. As you can see, even the cacti up here are dried out, are dying. And down here you can see the big river going through the valley. And if there's just a little water, if there's any at all. I reckon that during the winter and during the spring it's much more fertile and there should be a lot of water here. I was having a look at my map and it indicates that there are river crossings on this route, and I suppose they are during the spring when the snow-capped peaks, when the water melts from the snow-capped peaks here, because there should be plenty of snow and low temperatures during the winter especially. But there are a lot of signs of water erosion, as you can see up here on the hill. It's already 24 degrees in the shadow. Not sure about the sun, but it should be a bit hotter. Fortunately, the sun is not really out yet. I mean, it's not at full strength yet. So I better get going before it gets too hot. It's so hot, and it's around midday, but it's not getting better soon. So I guess I will have to ride on soon. I have been warned about scorpions here. Apparently there should be lots of scorpions, and I asked if they were venomous, and I was told that they have venom that can kill 3 persons. I cannot ride for more than 2, 3, 4 kilometers, and I have to sit down and rest. So after many attempts I finally gave up. I decided to have a rest here, and I guess I will have to wait till the sun goes down, or at least the sun goes away, because it's way too much. I cannot ride uphill, not in this heat. It's impossible. So yeah, I'm camping here, reading a book. From TCN test. It's 7 o'clock. It's still quite early morning, and I quickly descended from the Atlas Mountains up here. TCN test somewhere up here. It went super quick. Look at the channels they built here to collect the water and lead the water during spring when the snow melts. Huge amounts of water. Now I'm descending down into the Sus Valley. Taroudant, which is the main city down there. So now I'm almost at Taroudant. I just have a few kilometers left. I've been driving along the main road here in the Sus Valley, and it has been interesting to see how much of a fruit production there is. I mean, oranges and watermelons and peas and so on. There are many estates like this along the road. Some of them could be around, I would judge, maybe 40, 50, 60 hectares. Some of them are very large. I think this one is the largest one, and judging from Google Maps, it should be around 3,000 hectares. And you know, it has security and everything, which I have not seen at the other estates. I took cover in a ruined building around midday to escape the heat. I've been camping here for some hours now. It's quite a cool place actually. This is the courtyard, and you see it has even painted walls. I don't know if the building was ever used. It could have been used, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was just never finished. Anyway, it's quite cool, and there's some old furniture here. I have my bike here, just waiting for the sun to set. I decided just to burn some of all the shit I found, and I have a nice thing going here. It's burning quite well. Adjust the size so it won't be noticed from the street. And this is the main story. Over here you have a well, and I was really scared when I enter, or after I entered, because I came in here and I was just about to step on this wood, which would probably have had been the death of me, because down here there's a well and it's like 20 meters deep. It's really deep. So let me try and drop a stone down. So here I have a stone, and just listen how deep it is. That's how deep it is. So you have to tread lightly, because if you step on this wood, you're probably going to die. Like, you will fall down. There's no way you can survive that. But other than that, it's a nice place. I was just having a look at the stuff I found here. Up here is the terrace, which looks like this. I mean, it could have been a really nice place. Down here you have the well again. But yeah, this could have been a really nice place. I'm not going anywhere near the well because I'm still scared of it. But out here you have the landscape. It's quite bleak. I've seen many herders, like goat herders and sheep herders. They're just walking around with the sheep all day. And it's what they do for a living. Probably they are farming at other times of the year. This is another room. And one thing I noticed is that how everything is homemade. For example, the windows. This is homemade. The armrests on the chair was also homemade. It seems that the people who lived here, they are quite skilled craftsmen. For example, this window is homemade as well. Like, this is quite a cool construction. So I'm about halfway between Guelmim and Hansen, and this is what it looks like. There are some trucks going here. They are carrying goods between the cities. Also, some of them are going towards West Africa and Mauritania. Camels. This way is the Tantan Plage, or El Ouaita, as the locals call it, which is the port and the beach of Tantan, around 26 kilometers away across this mountain or this hill. So, welcome to the Sahara.
Croatia.
Yeah? Yes. Finally, the ocean. Have a look at this cliff coast. It's quite majestic, isn't it? I'm not getting too close because it seems that some huge chunks of the coast has fallen into the ocean lately. It's likely eroding inwards with time. But wow, have a look at this. And it's quite foggy here. It's still morning, around 9 o'clock, I think. It's a bit difficult to say the exact temperature because it might actually be hotter than it feels like. But I have a good wind pushing me south, which definitely makes it feel colder than it is. So right now, it's comfortable to ride. So it's the first night in the actual Sahara and I'm wild camping here. I decided to pitch my tent behind the road. Sorry, near the road behind a barcan, which can be seen here. There is a ridiculous amount of sand blowing. There There is a lot of sand transport here, and while I was in the tent, which is by the way filled with sand, it's difficult to prevent it, but while I was inside, I could literally see it being filled with sand from such a tiny hole, which is actually just a ventilation hole that I have here. So underneath, now I decided to cover it with my t-shirt and built this structure to avoid the sand, because the sand was actually going inside here and then it was flying up inside, so it entered my inner tent via the mosquito net that I have. And here I'm somewhere east of Taroudant, near the coast, probably somewhere around here, and Taroudant is over here. Now it's more like a normal beachhead rather than a cliff coast, as we saw earlier. It's quite windy and the wind is coming from the north, so I have a pretty strong side wind. There's not a lot of traffic here, not today. Yeah, Morocco has a huge potential for solar and wind energy, especially on this stretch. I mean, they are already filling the Sahara with solar panels, especially the area south of Agadir. I know it's not the Sahara, but if you have a look at Google Maps or at a satellite view, you can see south of Agadir how many solar panels there are, which makes sense because obviously there's a lot of sun there, but it's near some of the big cities, which means that the energy can be consumed easily without being transported so far. Right here there's not a lot of sun. I don't think it's the sunny part of Sahara, but it definitely has a lot of wind, which is why there is this massive wind farm. I'm now in Western Sahara. Officially there was no border control, no border at all actually. Okay, so I'm outside Laayoune right now. Now it's just the final police check, which is over here in the distance. You can see the police stopping the cars. Otherwise, the sun is about to set soon, and I look forward to entering and getting a good night's rest and exploring the city tomorrow. It's quite a wild thought that there's a city of this size. It has more than 200,000 people. In the middle of the desert, after hundreds of kilometers with barely anything at all. Then in the middle of a big stony desert, you will just find such a large city actually. So now I'll go talk to the police and I will see you inside. So I have now left Laayoune. I'm heading south towards Dakhla. I'm heading this direction. Laayoune was a pleasant experience. I spent a full day there and 2 nights exploring the city. I really liked it. It's a relaxed, laid-back city. I got myself some friends among the locals. They were super nice towards me. We had some fun, and then I just explored the city. I went to the only McDonald's in Western Sahara, which was really expensive. It was the same prices as in Denmark, and we are in Morocco here, so it's way more expensive than other normal Moroccan restaurants and fast food restaurants. But yeah, apart from that, the city felt safe. I mean, it was safe, but there was police, military police and military, and I saw a few UN patrol wagons as well, although they are mostly in the desert east of here, because they are guarding the front where the Polisario are. So the front here between Morocco and Polisario. There's a lot of things to say about the city itself, but you will not hear that from me, because I don't feel that I have been there long enough to talk a lot about the city and to conclude things. But now I'm heading south. It's nice. I was in the El Marsa, the harbor of the city. It was really slippery. It was even foggy and raining a bit in the morning. Unfortunately, I slipped and I hurt myself a bit. But luckily, the bike was not hurt, and the bike was not damaged. Nothing happened to it. I'm in a small village, or at least what used to be a village, out here on the main road. There's the gas station with only gas. That's everything you can get there. And here is what used to be a village, but now it's just ruins, all of it. I was having my lunch here and sleeping a bit during midday, and like a few minutes ago some dudes rolled up, and one of them was really nice. He gave me some water and he gave me some bread, but his mate, who was driving the car, was definitely on some kind of drugs. It was easy to see that there was something wrong, and yeah, he was saying a lot of shit, and sometimes I didn't understand all of it, but sometimes his mate told him to calm down, because he was making me a bit uncomfortable. He was talking about the Polisario and trying like to shake my hand. He wouldn't let go of it and tried to drag me into the car and shit like that. Yeah, you have to be careful with these holes. Sometimes they are wells and you will fall to your death. Yeah, but this dude was definitely on drugs, and something was wrong with him. I have no idea what he was talking about, but his mate told him to calm down. So I wished him a good luck on their journey. Bon voyage. This is an old house. But yeah, this one guy was definitely making me uncomfortable. So in the end, I kind of told him to fuck off in a friendly way. But he didn't really understand it. But his mate could see that enough was enough. So he told him to drive on. But his mate was really nice. And again, he gave me bread and water. So now I have left Bushdur, heading south towards Dakhla. It's around I think 340 kilometers or so. I had a good time in Bushdur because yesterday was 8. It was the small one, not the big one, so not the one after fasting, but the other one that comes later, that the Muslims were celebrating, and I was invited to celebrate with a local family. And sleep with them, and it was a pleasant experience. They were a kind family, and yeah, so we sacrificed one sheep and one goat, and then they cooked them and we ate them. The police also did a good job yesterday, because I had told them that I would only stay in the city for one night, and they after I decided to stay for 2 nighs. They called me because they were wondering why they had not registered me leaving the city. So yeah, good police work. Like, the police have really become my friends. They are doing a good job here, keeping everyone safe. It is a safe country and safe part of the world, for sure. But yeah, there is a big police presence here, which is maybe one of the reasons why it is so safe. Still on the way to Dakhla, and on the way I met an Italian cyclist. He's doing, he started in Rome and he is doing the tour all around Africa. And he wants to travel the world. He wants to go to India and China, Southeast Asia, Mongolia. Todo el mundo. He's locked and loaded for the whole world. I'm around halfway from Couture to Dakhla and just decided to set up camp here. The sun is going down now. It's slowly getting colder. The tent will be okay here. I'm cooking up some meat that I got from the family that I was celebrating with yesterday. And from here the desert has changed, so now we have some different kinds of stones, and we have some small hills that we did not have over here. Why did I not choose to cook shielded by these with my cooking stuff shielded by these stones? The reason is that there could be quite a lot of dangerous animals hiding in these crevices. For example, I found a spider. It is here. I'm not gonna take any risks, but the desert has changed, so now we have some different kinds of stones, and we have some small hills that we did not have over here. Why did I not choose to cook shielded by these with my cooking stuff shielded by these stones? The reason is that there could be quite a lot of dangerous animals hiding in these crevices. For example, I found a spider. It is here. I'm not gonna take any risks, but it's here. And there are really dangerous scorpions in the desert. Everyone has been warning me about them, luckily, or I don't know, I have not seen anyone yet. But I want to see them, but yeah, you gotta be really dangerous because they will kill you quite quickly. But yeah, there's a spider here, and probably there are like snakes and lots of different animals hiding in here. So I decided to not get too close. But it's nice because from here you can watch the road, watch the cars, although there is basically no traffic at all, especially not at this time. It has been very quiet today. I will now head towards Mauritania, towards the border, Guelmim, which is 335 kilometers. The wind is pretty strong here. It will do me a big favor, I suppose. But yeah, the sand is really flying and it's hurting a lot. But it's gonna be okay because now I put on long sleeve shirts and long pants. I did the stretch from Dakhla to here. It was only around 40 kilometers, but it took me more than 4 hours because the wind was so strong and it was headwind all the way. But yeah, now I'm going south, so the wind will do me a favor rather than being directly in front of me. So yeah, let's go. On the way to Mauritania. This is a beach along the cliff coast that I've been following. Out here is the road with my bike. There's not a lot of traffic any longer. In this direction, it's not possible to see Dakhla right now. It's surrounded by clouds, but it was visible just a few minutes ago. But I'm getting far from it now. This is such a beautiful place with lots of birds. Down here seems like there's a bit of a fishery, but it could be old. You gotta be careful and watch your steps here. It's such a beautiful place. This desert is wild. There is absolutely nothing. Everything is just gravel as far as the eye reaches. There are very few big rocks out here. We have the ocean. There's absolutely nothing behind me and in front of me except for gravel. The village of Imlin is another ghost town. I wonder what this village was before. But there's absolutely nothing right now except these houses that still stand. It seems to have been quite a fine village, because it seems like these houses have a high standard compared to many of the houses in the villages I've seen. So I wonder why it is completely abandoned. This looks like the town hall, and here is the mosque. So I will go inside and have a look. I have no idea what they have been for. Transporting things. Oh, that's just the bathroom. Here's the mosque tower. Maybe I can climb inside. Nice. I have come across a few villages on this way, but like these houses are way above the standard that I have seen in the villages where people actually live. Wow. It's really windy up here. Woo! Wow! Look at this. Magnificent. See, this village it's quite the size actually. Some really nice houses, really nice, beautiful courtyards. The town hall over here on the main square. Some kind of agriculture out here. Perhaps someone is living over here, managing the agriculture. Out here is the ocean and the dunes, large dunes. I wish there was a speaker here so I could shout Allahu Akbar so the entire city could hear. place at the gas station that the police officer told me to stay at. So here I'm camping for tonight, and I will leave quite early because I didn't go as far as I wanted today. But yeah, he told me to stay here, so kind of had to do it. It's a fine place. I have a toilet in here, and yeah, there has been so much police today. Like there was at some point after I left Dakhla, a police officer called me and asked me about my location, and later on there was a police car escorting me for like 1.5 hours, just driving in front of me, waiting till I passed, and then driving up in front of me and waiting again. And then yeah, now in the afternoon there was this another cop. I haven't seen it before. He drove up to me and asked me to stay here because it was the afternoon and he wanted to make sure where I was for the night. So there is so much police work being done here. Like, just imagine how many resources the police are using on only me as a single tourist. It's just insane, but it's the way they do it here. I don't know if it's because if it's a dangerous part of the country. I don't feel like it's a dangerous part of the country. Maybe it would be if it wasn't for all the police, but they really want to make sure that the tourists are okay. Okay, now someone's coming to get gas, so the guy will come and turn on the generator. But yeah, they are using so many resources on just me as a single tourist. Maybe it has something to do with the Danish and the Swedish girl that was killed in Morocco a few years back. It was really a bad case for the whole country, especially because they want more tourists. So yeah, maybe they take extra care of the tourists for that reason. But like in main Morocco, I did not feel a police presence as I have felt it in Western Sahara, and especially as I entered like the southern part of Western Sahara, and especially here south of Dakhla, there has been an insane amount of police making sure that they know where I am and that I'm okay. I went down here for a swim, down to the shacks, and I met two guys from the Royal Marine. One of them was actually just sleeping. The other one, his name is Brahim. He was really nice towards me. He invited me inside, and he made me omelette with cheese, and I had some bread, so I had some lunch, and he refilled my water. It was a bit difficult to communicate with him, but it seems that it's the Royal Marine down here, and they are living in like what seems to be homemade shacks actually, but it seems quite comfy. I wouldn't mind staying there for a while. It was a bit difficult to communicate with him, so I couldn't really figure out for how long time these two guys were staying here before they were rotated away. Quite close to the border now. This landscape is so cool. It's almost otherworldly. Have a look at this big guy. Just rolling about. It's a massive camel. These stones are special as well. Such cool structures. It's really rough, but still it feels so thin. I found this place for my tent where I can spend the night. It's around 20 kilometers north of the border and the town of Guelmim. So tomorrow morning I can drive into the village or into the town and get something to eat for breakfast, and I can buy supplies, and then I can cross the border into Mauritania, and I'm looking forward to that. I did quite good today, 225 kilometers. So yeah, I'm a bit tired now, but it's actually all right. And then I will probably head to sleep soon. It's getting cold outside now, so I will head inside and rest now. Train that goes deep into the Sahara from Nouadhibou. It passes just like 4 or 5 kilometers away from the border. The heat was too much earlier. I did a small stretch of cycling during midday, just after midday, but the heat was so intense, even though the wind was from the side. Like I was getting burn marks on my hand by just touching the iron on my bicycle. It was so hot. My water felt like it was boiling. It is just insane how hot it is here. Especially during midday. Now the sun is gone. I went to a mosque for a few hours to cool down. I was literally sweating all over my body inside the mosque. But now I cooled down a bit, and yeah, the sun is gone. It's out of the sun. It's pretty cool. You can't see shit right now, and the wind is really blowing right now. And to be honest, if I am allowed to swear, it's fucking awesome. This is so fucking cool because the wind is going in the right direction. You see, it's a bit of side slash tailwind, so it's quite easy to ride in this weather. Except you have to be careful, put your lights on, and there are quite a lot of potholes on this road. Not on this stretch, but on the road itself. It's quite a steep road, and there are plenty of potholes, and you can't see shit, so you have to be careful. But yeah, this is awesome. Just had this really fun episode happening at the road. So there was this big black car that rolled up and stopped in front of me, and a Mauritanian dude opened the window, offered me some water, and he asked me how I was in Spanish. And you know, I replied in Spanish, and then we were both totally confused as of why we were speaking Spanish. And I asked him, why do you speak Spanish? And then he rolled down the windows, and there were like nine kids just crawling on each other, trying to get a look of me. And then he pointed at his wife and said that she was Cuban, so that's why he spoke Spanish. And it was really fun because there were all these kids waving and laughing. And then he did not speak very well English. So he asked his daughter to speak English to me, and you know, we were talking, and she spoke perfect English, like the most fluent, perfect English I've heard in Mauritania. And asked her, why do you speak so good English? And she said that she went to the American school in Nouakchott, that's why she spoke so good English. And while this was happening, there was another car that stopped at the other side of the road. So I thought that he was angry, maybe because we blocked the road. But then he also offered me 2 water bottles. And you know, all the kids were just laughing, and it was really fun actually. And really good gestures from both of the cars. And then we said goodbye, and all the kids were just laughing and crawling onto each other. And you know, waving at me. It was just a really fun episode. I'm now leaving Nouakchott. I'm in the outskirts of the city, heading towards Senegal. My stay in Nouakchott has been incredibly pleasant actually. This is my first time in sub-Saharan Africa, and as you would expect, there is a lot of hustle and bustle in the city. There's so much noise, so much dirt, but it's all part of the experience, and I have really liked it so far. GoPro. He is following me, and for some reason he slows down every time I slow down, so he's not getting on the side of me. I have no clue why he is following me, if it's because he's curious or because he's going to another village. One thing I noticed here in southern Mauritania is that there seems to be more of a racial divide in society than in other parts, especially in the capital, where it didn't seem to me that there was a visible racial divide. Here you will often see the Moors, like the Arabic Moors, walk around in their beautiful white and blue clothing, but they seem to stick more together. So they don't mix and mingle as much with the black population as I had seen elsewhere, like for example in the capital and in northern Mauritania. So it seems that the society down here, the societies are obviously smaller because there are plenty of small villages, but the society also seems to be a bit segregated between these races. I'm entering the Sahel region of Africa. The trees here are more widespread and they're getting bigger. They grow in the sand here. Tonight, like the night that just passed, I actually had my first rain since Tantan when it was dripping a bit, and there was like proper rain tonight. So it is rainy season now, and in Senegal when I go south there should be even more rain, and it can affect the road, but right now the road is new and really good. But yeah, so this is definitely a different climate. I also feel that the air humidity is way higher, so it actually feels hotter than being in the desert. So like if the temperature was the same as in the desert, it would feel way hotter now, and that is because of the humidity, which is high right after it rained. There are plenty of people living here, but you have to remember that this is a very, very big country, and people only live here along the road. There are basically no other roads in the country, at least very few. So the people who live here, they live along the road, which is kind of like the lifeline here. And yeah, everyone is like shouting at you, trying to get your attention. There are some cheering you on, but especially the children and a lot of adults as well try to get your attention because they want to talk with you. The children are usually begging, but you just have to ignore it, and it's not going to change anytime soon. But yeah, this is definitely a different environment, and it changed really fast. After Nouakchott, I would say that there's a big change in environment, and yeah, it happens quickly. It's super interesting. Also there's some different animals here. You have a mix of cows and cattle, cattle and camels and goats, chickens and donkeys. That's like the mix of animals that they cultivate here. Also, I'm beginning to see the first fields, because especially in this area, maybe it's possible to see over here, but there are like some low-lying areas that seem a bit more wet than the surrounding dunes and the surrounding areas. Often here you have very, very, very huge palms growing. These areas should be wetter, and they are like small oases, and I have seen a bit of farmland actually, and a bit of crops being cultivated. So this is really interesting to see. Now on the road to Diama in the village, which I loved because it was in the bushes. It was so cool. But yeah, I was there and eating some food, and we had a quite intensive rain shower. It didn't last for long, but it was very intensive. It is currently the wet season, July, so it's not the worst, although it's the end of July. I heard that August should be way worse. But yeah, you don't want to get caught up in one of these rain showers. Also, the locals told me that it would be impossible to reach Diama on a bicycle on this road, but I'm gonna take my chances anyway. They told me to go all the way back to Rosso, but I have done quite a lot of off-road, especially in Iceland, on my bicycle, so it should be possible for me to go all the way, I hope. But yeah, I will go ahead, and I will have to see. Worst case, I can turn back, but yeah, it should be possible. I think the locals are underestimating the power of a bicycle. No, unfortunately it's impossible for me to ride this direction, because this is how the bike looks after a few minutes of cycling, because the mud here is really sticky, so it just sticks to your bike, and it makes it impossible for you to ride. So I guess I have to go back and all the way back to the main road now. There's not really another option, unfortunately, because the mud is so wet. And I don't know, I mean, there's 49 kilometers till Diama, and I don't know how the road will be further ahead, so it seems like a bad idea. I guess I have to go back. The problem here in this part of the world is that the mud is really sticky, right? So it sticks to your bike, and then it will come everywhere as big balls, and it will just block your bike from running, from moving. And I saw a lot of stuck cars on the road, even though I only went a few kilometers down it. It was impossible, and I don't even have a heavy bike, So yeah, just avoid it during the rainy season. It's a waste of time. Although I'm happy that I managed to see the small village in the bushes, because it was quite a cool and very friendly village as well. It's definitely something special and something very different than the rest of Mauritania and the rest of what I have seen so far. It's a totally different vibe. Also, all the people are either Wolof or other sub-Saharan tribal people. So it was really cool to see. Now in Senegal, after crossing the border at Rosso, you know, I had heard a lot about the border. People will tell you horror stories, and you can read online how a difficult process it is and how corrupt it is. But it was actually quite easy for me to do this. Could have been more difficult than a car, I'm not sure, but everything seems pretty straightforward. So you have to read online what you should expect to pay, and you should only pay the absolute minimum. Welcome to St. Louis. I have been riding today since sunrise. This means that I got to see how the locals were going on about their day. Many of them, they woke up really early, and then there were a lot of minibuses stopping in the different villages. They're just stopping and picking up people, and then people got off at the different places along the road. Probably they were going to work. Many of them went to work really early, like 6 in the morning, and around 7 most of the buses were constantly full and people were hanging on the back of them. But it was fun to see. I believe many people work in the fields. After Rosso, when you go southwest after Rosso, there are many small scattered villages in a big marsh. It's like a big wetland where they have some fields and so on. But around halfway, the wetlands will disappear and it will be more foresty in a way. It's still really wet, but there will be more lakes and it will be more like a forest in many places. Also here I got to see monkeys. There was a big dead snake. I saw a scorpion. But yeah, that's like an area for monkeys and so on. And here they had also fields, but they also had more plantages and other types of agriculture than simply fields. Now as I got closer to St. Louis, it's more populated and I look forward to entering the city. I had a great night's sleep in my tent here in a garden among these mango trees. The mangoes here are massive. Like, have a look at this one. The ones who are hanging here, they're not ripe yet. The ripe ones have been eaten already, I believe, but I took one and I'm bringing it with me. The case for Dakar is that it is located on a peninsula, as you can see here, which means there are only a few directions for the traffic, and the traffic here is absolutely crazy. I've done 50 kilometers today in traffic like this. It's absolutely crazy. There is so much and it's so loud because the car itself is only accessible from one direction, which means that the 2 million plus people living in the metropolitan area all have to access it from this strip of land. I think my plans for going to the westernmost point of Africa will be another day. Luckily I have a week here because I'm not doing it today. I'm absolutely wasted.